After Jerome Powell, will Kevin Warsh take charge of the Federal Reserve? Trump's nomination, the heartbeat of markets, and the world's growing unease. Imagine a morning when the same headline is flashing on screens from New York to Tokyo. The dollar is shaking, gold is jumping, bond yields are shifting, and questions are floating in the air about the chair of the world's most powerful central bank. There is fear, there is curiosity, and there is a story. Because this is not just a nomination. This could be the moment that decides the direction of a system that affects everything from your home loan EMI to global inflation. Is Kevin Warsh really set to take over the Federal Reserve after Jerome Powell? And if that happens, will the Federal Reserve remain as independent as before, or will the White House's shadow grow even deeper? This story begins the moment Donald Trump posted a message on his social platform. The words carried confidence, the claim had certainty, and the message had political power. Trump said he has known Kevin Warsh for a long time, has complete faith in him, and believes he will prove to be one of the greatest Fed chairmen. This was not just praise. It was a signal that the White House wants to tighten its grip on the Fed even more. The market read that signal instantly. If the Senate gives its approval, the picture could change as soon as Jerome Powell's term ends in May. What makes this interesting is that Powell himself was appointed by Trump back in 2017. But over time, cracks appeared in their relationship. Differences over interest rates came out in the open. Trump wanted sharp rate cuts to push growth. Powell chose restraint, fearing inflation. That clash lies at the heart of this story today. The Federal Reserve is one of the few American institutions whose identity is deeply tied to independence. Its responsibility is not just to set rates. It is the anchor for controlling inflation, ensuring maximum employment, and supervising the banking system. Its decisions show up everywhere, from your credit card bill to global capital flows. That is why the Fed chair seat is counted among the most powerful economic chairs in the world. Kevin Warsh's profile makes this story even more intriguing. He served as a member of the Federal Reserve Board from 2006 to 2011. At just 35 years of age, he became one of the youngest Fed governors in history. A fellow at Stanford's Hoover Institution, Warsh is considered policy hawkish. Tough on inflation, opposed to excessive easing, and supportive of shrinking the Fed's balance sheet. This is exactly the mindset that is making markets uneasy today. In some ways, Kevin Warsh is also an unexpected choice for Trump. Trump has openly said that the Fed's key rate should be around 1%. The current level is far above that. On the other hand, Warsh has long supported higher rates, especially when inflation risks appear to rise. Even during the 2008 global crisis, he questioned the Fed's extremely loose policies. At the time, many said his concerns were unnecessary because inflation stayed under control. But the inflation surge of recent years has brought his old arguments back into the spotlight. This is where the story takes a twist. In recent speeches and writings, Kevin Warsh has also struck a relatively softer tone. He has acknowledged that a technological leap in productivity, especially artificial intelligence, has the power to suppress inflation. His argument is that the Fed underestimated AI supercharged productivity. This statement also lends legitimacy to Trump's pressure for rate cuts. The market is reading this as a signal that Warsh may not be rigid but flexible depending on conditions. Then comes the Senate question. In the United States, a presidential nomination does not automatically mean an appointment. Hearings before the Senate Banking Committee, tough questioning, and then confirmation by a simple majority in the full Senate are required. 51 votes. That is the number that will decide whether Kevin Warsh reaches the Fed's chair or not. This process takes time, and the market swings within this uncertainty. Why is the market reaction so sharp? Because in Warsh's statements, the phrase regime change appears repeatedly. In central bank language, this does not mean just ups and downs in rates, but a major shift in policy framework, communication, and liquidity management. Investors read this as a sign of tighter financial conditions. The result: movement in the dollar index, a jump in bond yields, and sharp volatility in gold and silver. Kevin Warsh's thinking is seen as supportive of a strong dollar and higher real yields. That means US bonds could become more attractive, capital could flow toward America, and pressure could increase on emerging markets. That is why, the moment his name surfaced, restlessness appeared in risk assets. His stance on crypto is also considered strict. He does not see cryptocurrencies as a safe hedge against inflation, but as speculative assets born out of loose policy. This thinking is a negative signal for the crypto market as well. But there is another side to the story. If questions arise about the Fed's independence, trust weakens. The Fed's strength lies not just in its tools, but in its credibility. When a president openly attacks the central bank or tries to influence policy through appointments, the question arises: is the Fed moving closer to the White House? Experts believe this fear is already being priced into the market. The role of the Fed chair is not limited to the United States. The dollar is the world's reserve currency. The Fed's policy affects everything from Latin American currencies to Asian bonds. If the Fed turns hawkish, global liquidity tightens. If it turns dovish, risk assets get a boost. Warsh's potential appointment matters because it could set the direction for the next 4 years. In his statement, Trump said Warsh is like central casting and will never disappoint. This phrase comes straight from election politics. Someone who fits the role perfectly. The market reads this as Trump wanting a chair who understands his growth-first agenda, but also preserves the system's credibility. Is that balance possible? That is the big question. Kevin Warsh's background suggests he supports institutional change. He has spoken about shrinking the Fed's balance sheet, easing bank regulations, and making communication clearer. Together, this paints a picture of a different Fed. Lighter, more disciplined, and sharply focused on inflation. But does this picture fit an era where politics and economics are increasingly intertwined? Now the question is how all this will affect the common person. If rates stay high, home loans and car loans will be expensive. Credit card costs will rise. If the dollar strengthens, imports may get cheaper and exports more expensive. Money could flow out of emerging markets. Non-yielding assets like gold and silver could face pressure. On the other hand, if wash turns out to be softer than expected, the picture could flip. This uncertainty is the heart of the story. Markets price the future, and the future is still hazy. Senate approval is pending. Powell's term has not ended yet. A balance between Trump's pressure and Warsh's thinking is still to be found. With every pending comes more volatility. History shows that even the name of a Fed chair can shake markets. When Volcker arrived in 1979, inflation was crushed, but a recession followed. In 2008, Bernanke's decision saved the system. Today, the question is, if Kevin Warsh comes in, which turn will the story take? Will it be a return of strictness or a new balance built on faith in technological productivity?
If our video has taught you something new, do not forget to like and share this video so that this information can reach others as well. Your likes and shares are a source of inspiration for us. If you have any questions or suggestions, please let us know in the comments. It will be our honor to answer your questions and listen to suggestions. And yes, if you like our content, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you stay connected with every new story. Thank you. GRT Business YouTube channel sources, news from various news agencies, opinion polls and other public sources. We try to ensure that every report and summary is accurate and verified, but we are not responsible for any dispute or error. Our aim is only to provide you with accurate information.